I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of Produce Business Magazine. On behalf of Produce Business Magazine and the Eastern Produce Council, I want to welcome you to the 5th edition of the Ideation Fresh Food Service Forum. This event was created because after the USDA established a goal of seeing half of every plate composed of fruits and vegetables, we realized that we were very, very far from achieving that goal. And it was our goal to try and bring together culinary schools, bring together all segments of the produce industry, bring together academics, and try and investigate ways in which we could come closer to achieving this goal. Over the years, we've become more and more persuaded that the culinary route is in fact the only possible route by which the industry can increase per capita consumption. For many years, we've had many programs that are sort of health-oriented in the produce industry to try and encourage people to eat because it is healthier. The problem we find is that it leads to the sale of produce in a way that sounds like it's a medicine. And that's not a highly effective way of boosting consumption. It's sort of a nanny state, wagging your finger. You should do this because this is good for you. Any of us who are parents know that this isn't even very effective with our own children, much less with telling the whole world that this is what they ought to do. One suggestion that has been made is the produce industry has been criticized because many produce varieties have been developed with the goal of having high yield, with the goal of having long storage life, with the goal of being cosmetically perfect, but not always developed with the goal of having the best taste. Now, it's a very good thing that that has been changing. Recognition that taste and flavor are absolute essentials if we're going to get people to eat more, has led to an increased emphasis in varietal development on those varieties that have better taste and flavor. And that's a very positive thing. You're starting to see a lot of specialized fruit varieties, grapes, apples particularly, where they have higher end varieties that are really magnificent in the way they taste. But fundamentally, as important as this is, and as much as this needs to be an ongoing effort, focusing on varietal development is a very long-term thing. It takes years and years to develop new varieties of produce. Then it takes years and years for them to be fully accepted and planted in large scale. And depending on the crop, well, to plant, pear trees, that can take 9 years before you have the pears out there to eat, and probably 20 years before there are a lot of pear trees out there with that new variety. So some things like row crops and so forth can be turned over more quickly as we have new varieties, and we're seeing that on things like tomatoes and so forth. But the other idea is that since it takes so long to develop new varieties, and we don't want to wait 40, 50 years to accomplish this, can we turn perhaps to cultures that maybe didn't have access to the kind of protein that we have today in the United States? And can we turn to cultures in Asia, the Mediterranean, other places that really became expert in bringing out great flavor in fruits and vegetables? And can we use this more flavorful component that we develop through culinary technique and use that as the driving force to increase consumption of fruits and vegetables? And a lot of the work, the mental work, the thinking that's gone behind this whole forum has been to find ways to do that, to use culinary techniques that we can implement quickly as drivers to increase consumption. Well, we have a wonderful program today that I believe is going to work on this concept from the ground up. We're going to be looking at procurement issues and other obstacles that really prevent distributors, operators who would like to use more fruits and vegetables from doing so. One of the great assets that we can say out there today is that chefs want to use fruits and vegetables. When there have been surveys, and I've been privileged to do a lot of work with the Culinary Institute of America, and when they've done surveys and studies of corporate chefs, one of the things they find is that they're inundated with negatives. That, oh, use less salt, use less fat, use less sugar. Everything is use less, it's all negative. And what chefs want to do is be positive in life and be positive in their work. So what could be positive? Well, use more color, use more freshness, use more fruits and vegetables. And that gives them an inspiring goal and an inspiring way to work and live their lives. And we want to sort of ride that wave and ride that personal incentive to not live a negative life filled with all the things you can't do, but instead live a fulfilling and exciting life filled with all the wonderful things you can do with fruits and vegetables to serve all the needs that you need to serve to provide healthy and delicious foods to people all over the world. We have a great program, and I'm not going to slow us down anymore. I do want to say thank you to every single one of you for being part of this great mission that we all share to increase consumption of fruits and vegetables and use of fruits and vegetables in the food service industry.